Alrighty, it's your boy Zxous, and today we're going to be talking about if she should be summoning for D as a solo character. And I say that because we did a in-depth video for Alice, and now we're gonna do one for her. We also did a should you summon for both her, Alice, and the half anniversary. So hopefully one of these three videos can kind of help you decide what to do. Now again, like I said, as of right now, D is a very good character. She's probably um like I don't even think it's a competition, honestly. She probably is the best Elysion DPS in the game, right? Off the top of my head, for the character that I can even think about. I'm pretty sure she's the best DPS Elysion in the game. Basically, yeah. I don't think anybody here is better than her as a DPS. I don't think anybody's better than her as a DPS here. Maybe Privity, but like for bosses, she's definitely the best, right? She's the hardest hitting one for sure, right? What she does is kind of like it based on like on paper, it like she seems like she does like Scarlet level damage. So let's take a look at her basically, right? Well, we're not gonna actually go break over like her skills again. I just did that in the last video, so we're not gonna talk too much about that. But basically, she's a character who is mainly for bosses, right? She has a couple abilities that are useful outside of bosses and even for bosses, but like in PvP, being like immune to stun, and then also when you are immune to stun, your burst time is increased by an extra 5 seconds. So she's a very, very unique character. She's a very, very, very unique character. Now, she is mainly for iron type enemies. She's kind of like Sakura, but for iron type enemies in terms of the damage part. But the thing is, she's also a character who just makes a lot of attackers good against other bosses, right? So her burst skill again is what kind of makes her very, very useful against every boss in the game that has some type of part like Chatterbox with the missile launchers or the Cora Modernia or like those little parts. Even the train, right? Could be useful for the train too, right? Basically, when you're in her burst skill for 15 seconds, all attacker allies when attacking a certain part of an enemy deals damage to no, my bad. Damage dealt to the part is increased by 42.38% for 15 seconds. So I'm not sure if when they say a certain part, they mean the general core of an enemy, if they mean an actual additional part. Either way, it's still very broken, right? If it's both, then hey, if it's one of the two, it doesn't really change anything. It's still very, very broken right there, right? Because that's all allies. So you can give that to Scarlet. Like Scarlet would get that effect. Modernia would get that effect. Alice would get that effect. Laplace would get that effect. Any attacker ally would get that effect, and it's a pretty good one to have too. But her herself would also get that effect, which is very broken because her other skills is what makes her cracked. So basically, when a target ally appears for 15 seconds, she instantly, for 15 seconds, 91.09% damage is increased of strong damage if that's an iron type enemy, right? If that's an iron type enemy, she's doing that much more damage. 91%. That's big. And then her first skill, when in a full burst, when you enter a full burst, not only can she heal herself over time, but she's a character who increases her strong element damage again when you're in a full burst, right? So you're guaranteed every time you're in a full burst, her strong attack damage will be increased all the time. Not when you use her burst skill. Every time you use a full burst, she will have guaranteed a strong element damage increase of 46.93% at level 10 skills, of course, for 15 seconds. Very nice, right? Because you can also heal from this too. So you don't have to actually use her burst skill, right? That kind of eliminates characters like Helm for that, right? Like that attack buff. To be fair, that attack buff from Helm is going to everybody, but if you were going to use Helm just for D, that first skill kind of eliminates Helm's purpose, right? In terms of her skill and her burst skill. So keep that in mind. Her second skill is something that is very nice too. Charges burst skill by 98.56%, activates one time per battle, and this happens when the target appears. So the reason why that's or not burst skill but burst gauge, the reason why that's so broken is because essentially when you're fighting a boss enemy, you start off with your full when you're fighting a boss, you start off with your full burst. Basically, if you have level 10 skills, 98 of that, what, 98 out of 100% of the burst gauge basically is filled up. So you basically will have your full burst, your burst skills instantly the moment you get into a match, which is going to be very good for someone like Modernia. Literally, like, this character is probably like the biggest cheat to Modernia. Let me just confirm something, because I noticed for any other character who, like, every other character that dropped, they didn't have anything in their gameplay. But for Sakura, who was meant for the train, the first clip they showed in her animations was her against the train. So let me see if they do the same thing for D here. Does she fight Modernia in the first clip? Right, it's probably gonna be of her actual summon thing, because I don't think they have for Scarlet here either. But let's take a look. So she doesn't, right? So then boom, yeah, because the enemy popped up, she guaranteed got burst, and then boom, does the AoE damage. She's gonna be very good, but I don't know if they showed it here, or if I have to wait until the actual summon thing, because I believe Sakura also, like, for the actual animation here, it didn't show her against the train, but in the game, when you're like on her banner, it shows her fighting the train, kind of indicating that she's for train. And Nikke themselves literally says, like, they give a little description of her. When a boss is appear, D grants all allies stun immunity and refills burst gauge, basically. So it's kind of clear that she's for a boss, right? I think she's gonna have use against all boss just with her own burst skill. Keep in mind that like her second, just in general, she's always gonna be good, right? Because her skills don't activate if you're fighting a wind type enemy. It's not like Sakura's. Her skills do not activate if you fight a wind type enemy. Her skills just do more damage to wind type enemies, right? So even her second skill alone, right? When a boss ally appears, that could be in any boss, right? Chatterbox, blacksmith, whatever. When that boss appears, boom, you guaranteed start off with your full burst. That could be very good against train too, right? I didn't even think about that, but that could be very, very good against the train as well, because you could kind of just start the train off with your full burst now, right? That can kind of like make or break a lot of stuff depending on how you want to go about it and stuff like that. So keep that in mind, right? And then, like, her stuff only really activate when you're in a full burst or when a boss appears. You have the immunity, the immune to stun and all that type of stuff, right? So she's a very, very good character, right? It's bosses or target allies, so target enemies. So target enemies are basically like mini bosses. They're like those little bosses that have like the icon. I can show you guys actually real quick what a target enemy is. Right, target enemies are like these characters. Like, is that I guess this would be a target enemy right here. Right, they're not like, okay. Let me see if I can show you guys if it will load. Okay, don't load. Like, what? Don't load. That's fine. So yeah, she's a very, very good character. I think you should summon for her if you definitely need her for bosses and stuff like that. I would generally just tell you guys to wait till the live stream to decide if you want to summon for this character or not. Sorry for that noise right there. I would generally say just wait for the live stream to see if you want to summon or not. But overall, she's a fantastic character. I think she's going to be great. Just keep in mind, she's a character who will get put on the regular banner and modes and all that stuff anyways. So she's not a character you need to really chase now. But if you're somebody who struggles with a lot of bosses, I would say at least wait for myself or anybody else to do a showcase on her and then let that decide for you. But she can definitely be very, very good against a lot of the bosses, right? Just her little effects too, to guarantee give you a full burst instantly, basically, against iron type enemies like Modernia, to have all that damage increase, to have attacker allies basically do more damage to certain parts. Very, very good character in my opinion. So you guys let me know what you think, if you're going to summon for her or not. Again, if you do plan on summoning, but you're not 100% sure, wait. Please wait. But it's going to be like that, right? You guys let me know what you think down below in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out. Peace.